This took me a long time to put together, so I'd really appreciate you guys if you did leave a like on this video. These videos usually do pretty well. Leave me your roster and what you hope is in Project L, the League of Fighters, whatever it's called. Leave me a comment, leave me a like. If you would like this, please subscribe and share with someone else that likes the same kind of content. Okay, so I have made an overly convoluted, very tedious chart, like we do on this channel, for Project L, the League of Legends based fighter. And it's probably not coming out in 2022, I'm thinking 2023. And this roster I have built is massive, okay? I'm not saying this is what's going to be at release, because it won't be. It literally will not be this at release. But I'm saying, like, by 2028, 5 years down the line, maybe we could have something pretty close to this. And if you are a League fan, there's only so many slots. If I didn't put your favorite on here, it's probably some of my own bias. Things I think would be cool in the game. Things would be good in a fighter. And it's clear to say that character classes do not matter, because they already have Jinx in the game. And Jinx is like, you wouldn't think she'd be a very good fighter, right? She just shoots guns, but she's in the game, and they can make it work. So they can make almost anything work. So any character could be in the game. I'll just say that a majority of them are humanoid. Probably a lot of complications with just stuff like Hecarim, super monster body types, giant monster types. So I don't, even though like I'm a huge fan of like Volibear, he's not in here. There are some big champs, but I think they can scale him down to be reasonable. So that's it for the disclaimers. And I know one more actually. I know that this screen right here has 3 characters on each side, but I didn't want to leave it blank or leave just nothing there. So there's 3 characters on each side, but this game is actually a 2v2 fighter. It's a tag game, 2v2, and since it has a giant roster to use and it's a tag game, I thought we'd use the best game of all time as a tag fighter, in my opinion. Marvel vs. Capcom 2's Character Select, 56 characters, Project L. Let's go. So, opening up, starting off here, the only person who's not been confirmed for this game yet is Vi, and with Arcane being as a pop-off as it was, and Echo, this is not Echo's splash art, this is one of his skins, but nonetheless, Echo and Jinx look like their Arcane counterparts, and the map is actually from one of the later scenes in Arcane. So I think it's safe to say Vi is like a shoe-in, dude. Vi's gonna be in the game. These are all characters. The rest of them are all confirmed. Jinx is in it. Echo's in it. Ahri, Darius, Katarina are all in it already. And I think 100% Vi is gonna be in it. There's no doubt in my mind. All right, next. So we're following the same trend here. We have Jace. Jace, I think that pretty much almost any character that was in Arcane, most of the main characters, there may be I do leave a couple off here, but Jace, I think, good candidate to be in the game, especially with the way he is in game, where he swaps stances from range to melee, has different abilities. I think he's a good candidate. Victor would be either a good tag partner, or, I mean, just the character interactions that you can have in this game too, you know what I mean? It goes deeper than the game. The characters have cool designs, but now we have lore behind the characters. We've always had lore, but you know what I mean? More people, there's more lore, it's more fleshed out. The relationship between the two, you have more interactions, you have, you know, it just makes for a deeper, more solid experience, in my opinion. So, I mean, we already got Jinx and Vi, plenty of voice lines for each other. Good tag partners, who knows, should be if they're sisters, but you know. So let's keep going. Jace, Victor, Caitlyn, also in Arcane. Someone who's not been in Arcane yet would be Camille, which I do believe, I could be wrong, I don't know the lore 100%. I think maybe these two are kind of at odds with each other, I think, even though they are both, like, I think she's still an enforcer. I think Caitlyn is like something newer, like she's trying to be like revolutionize it. I think I could be butchering this shit, but anyways, Caitlyn, I have no doubt that if they keep going and Piltover, Camille will show up eventually. Blitzcrank, which is also connected to all these. I think Camille could maybe not be in the game, but I think Blitzcrank is going to be in it. I think it'd be kind of weird for Blitz to not be in it. He's kind of like an iconic character in my opinion, especially if you're an older League player. Okay, next we have Orianna, which this is not Orianna's default skin. This is just one that was easy to get a hold of. I think Orianna would have a cool gameplay style based around the ball and moving the ball around and controlling it as well as your character, offensive and defensive. They could do some pretty cool things with Orianna, I believe. Diana. Well, if we got Diana, I think you all know where I'm going next, right? There's a lot of synergies, some rivalries in lore if you do know anything about League. So Diana is the aspect of the moon, and we have Leona, who I believe is the aspect of the sun. And in lore, they have kind of a relationship thing, and then also it goes from relationship thing to like kind of their peoples having atrocities against each other, which is really sad. But I think if those two are in the game, there's a lot of things that just pair up with each other. And unfortunately, here's a spoiler: I don't have Garen on here to go against Darius, but you could maybe get Garen in here somewhere, right? But Darius is already in the game. I also don't have Draven. Draven's not in it either. Spoilers. So there's only so many slots. We'll keep going. I had Jax on here. That's not Jax's default splash either, but Jax in the game has always been said that he was almost unstoppable, so they gave him a lamppost as a weapon. With any regular weapon, he would be unstoppable. So it'd be kind of cool to see what they could do with Jax, if they want to do something with him. And here's where you can swap Jax out also, because I have Master Yi in the game. And Master Yi uses a martial arts style called Wuju style. And he also has a kind of like a trainee, or a protege that he trains called Wukong, who also does a Wuju style. So if you could drop Jax for Wukong, and I would be fine with that. Wukong would have some unique things he could do, especially with his extendable bow staff and all kinds of stuff. Imagine, if you know Goku, that's kind of how Goku is. They're all based off the same character from an old story. Warwick. I definitely think Warwick needs to be in. Even though he's pretty much he'd be like Saberwolf from Killer Instinct. I think Warwick's too cool of a character to pass up. He fits a different mold than all the other characters so far, I would say. Obviously, Blitzcrank is a big golem, big metal golem, but then this is just a straight up beast human. You know what I mean? I have Cassiopeia. It's also not her splash art, but she's like a snake lady. She got a snake body. If they can animate it right, I think it'd be pretty cool. I was considering characters some characters are centaur or they have a horse bottom, or a deer bottom, depending on who you're talking about. But I think it would be easier to do the snake body than 4 legs. But I could be wrong. But I think it'd be cool if Cassiopeia got in the game, especially considering all things when you start making a roster for a League of Legends fighter. There's so many characters that have like melee weapons that can just that'd be a good one. This would be a good one. There's 35 sword people, you know what I mean? It's becoming Smash at a certain point. So I was thinking, I need to get a few more mages in here. I need to diversify it up a little bit. So Snake Lady, Mage, we're good. Gangplank, he's a pirate. He's got a flaming sword. I don't know how you'd factor in his orange eating. He could use barrels. He could have his ship come in and do stuff. You could have all kinds of stuff. Blunderbuss shots, cannon fire, all kinds of stuff. Gangplank's got to be in, at least, because I don't have many people from Bilgewater, which is a pirate type land in the universe, but I put Gangplank in. I chose Gangplank because if you got pirate, Gangplank's the pirate, you know what I mean? So that's my decision on that. I don't have MF, I don't have Pike. I thought about Alawi, but I didn't put her in the game. Akali is so triggering in the actual League of Legends game. I hate fighting against her, but I think there's some cool stuff. She uses a shuriken, a kunai. I think it's kunai, not the shuriken. But smoke bombs, invisibility, things of that nature. I think they could do a lot with Akali and a fighter. Pantheon. I think without a doubt, he's basically just like he's imbued with like, I don't know if it's a celestial being, but it's like he's basically just a god-infused Spartan is the only way I can describe it to you. And I think Pantheon would be awesome. It'd be absolutely awesome to have Pantheon in a fighter. Fiora. You have to have Fiora in the game simply because she's known as the Grand Duelist, right? So kind of like the same thing as Jax up here. In the lore, Jax was always... They actually have a cinematic where these two fight each other, and it's not really Jax. It's like a different skin of Jax. But what I'm trying to get at here is they fight each other, and she winds up winning. But she's like the duelist. So you gotta have Fiora if you're making a fighter eventually. Like, you just have to, in my opinion. Aurelia, kind of the same thing. Aurelia's in game. Oh my, dealing with her is so annoying. The blade dancer, she's just weaving these blades like they're floating around her, and she's like slinging them and shooting them. And I think Aurelia would be. I mean, I'd play Aurelia. I would. Aurelia sounds awesome for a fighter. And then opposite of her, I have Riven. Lore wise, they're pretty at odds with each other. They're from different lands. Her original homeland invaded hers and was wreaking havoc. So, but Riven's also a exceptional duelist. She has a big old sword, so giant anime sword, like the Buster Sword, you know. So Riven. We have Viego, and even though I am not a big fan of where League started going with their characters, in game Viego is a pretty good duelist. It'd be interesting to see what they could do with him in a fighter, and I think, you know, if you have the opportunity to have the Ruin King, I think they would, considering he's in multiple games now, with the actual Ruin King game also. But I don't know if you could pass up Viego. And then I would have Gwen as opposite, because I mean, frankly, she's got scissors, man. Big scissors. So, I mean, it's like, I'm just thinking that the things they could do, you know, like, it's pretty unique animations. It'd be cool to animate a different kind of weapon than just, oh, it's a sword, you know? A big-ass pair of scissors. I think I'd have fun with it. All right, next, we have Rengar and Kha'Zix. So, in-game, these two hunt each other, and this is not his default, but I don't have any Void creatures on here. So Kha'Zix is going to be the one that takes the spot. I don't think Kog'Maw or Cho'Gath or Vel'Koz were really the right fit. Could have been Kassadin or Kasai, but I wanted to go with the actual Void creature. And with Kha'Zix, he has evolution, so I thought maybe they can incorporate his evolutions into his playstyle. Rengar, basically like a big lion with a giant knife. He throws bolas and he stabs you, and that's about it. You know what I mean? He roars, like, but in the lore, those two are hunting each other, so it'd be pretty cool to have interactions with them in game, I think. Plus, it's a different kind of character, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is another, like, kind of monstrous creatures, so that's pretty good. I think I'd leave him in the game. Thresh, I think 100% has to be in the game. Thresh is such a cool character, man. I mean, and multiple facets, too. Like, his design, and being as old of a champion as he is in the League of Legends game, he's very good. He's designed super well, and he's done so much stuff in the lore. I think he needs to be in the game, personally. So, opposite of him, I have Lucian, which is, he's got two guns, gunslinger type. I chose to leave Misfortune off specifically because Lucian, I feel like they just kind of do like the same thing. They do a lot of the same things. So Lucian's got the pick there. Next we have Kindred. Kindred's a bow and arrow wielder. She has a spirit with her called Wolf, and she can become unkillable in game. And she's technically the god of death in the League universe. So I'm thinking it would just be, I'm just thinking animations and stuff they would have where she's like shooting you up into the air, and then the wolf, like, while you're mashing buttons, like once they're airborne, wolf takes over and floats and does stuff in the air. And when they come back down, controls come back. You know, if it's part of a combo, it comes back to Kindred, and then she starts shooting you on the ground again. Like, there's so many things that you do with so many of these champions. Then we have Lee Sin. Lee Sin, I think, given a fighter is just kind of like given. The blind monk, his aesthetic in League fits a fighter very well. So had to see what other kind of things they give him, because eventually with this many characters, I'm sure there's gonna be some animations where it's like, okay, well, this is very similar. So Lee Sin kind of just punches and kicks, and that's it. So we'll have to see. Lux is so popular. They would put her in the game and find somebody to do it. You know, I don't know how they do it exactly, but Lux will be in the game. That's all there is to it. So opposite of Lux, instead of Garen or anybody else, I put Silas, because I think Silas fits the fighter mold a lot better, being a fighter mage. What is Silas? Like, what is he? Like, he has these chains. He was imprisoned, right? He has these giant chains, and like he slings them at people and like pushes his arcane powers through them, and they blow up at the end. Or he can like yank himself to you, spin around, smack you with them. But also he steals your abilities in the game. So like he sucks up your ability and uses it against you. So I was thinking, you know, maybe he could like steal people's supers. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's kind of cool, but also it'd be pretty gimmicky. But there's always someone like that in a fighter. You know, there's always some gimmick somewhere. And it's like, oh, this guy would be good if he had his own super. So maybe they had to give him more than one. But in game, that's what he does. He basically steals the other person's super and uses it. Next, we have Yasuo. Swordsman, uses the wind. Yasuo is super popular in the game, so he'll be here as well. If we got Yasuo, it's going to be pretty similar, but his brother, I think, also has to make it into the game, simply for the fact of them against each other, and them with each other, synergizing with each other, and the interactions between the two. There are a few things that Yone would do different, like his little spirit swap, his really far dash, knock up thing that he does, the double swords versus the single sword. This he can block projectiles. He can't, but yeah, two more swordsmen in the game that are connected. I think they would be in the game eventually. Renekton and Nasus. So I didn't want to make every single one of these like a, you know, one for one that go with each other, but I'm a big fan of Nasus and Renekton, and I don't know, man. They do a lot of the same things in game, so it's hard to say if they would actually make it to the game. But and they're both really big characters, so they'd have to shrink them down. And if you got a problem with these two, I understand. But I like both the characters. My list certainly biased, and I put Nasus and Renekton in. Next, we have Poppy. We have no Yordles on here yet. Yordles are a race of pretty small creatures. And the reason why I chose Poppy is because for actual stature, with Poppy being armored and having her big ass hammer and, you know, her hairstyle, she has these big ponytails, I think they can make it to where her hitbox is not necessarily where she's just like very, very small on screen, right? She's more like a medium small, a medium size, not small, you know, where there's hitbox issues and stuff like there has been in other games. So I think if any order was going to make it in, I was going to have Poppy. We don't really have someone with a hammer besides Jace. Jace has like but his is like a gun too. It does all kinds of stuff, right? Hers is just a hammer. She's hitting you with a hammer. So we got Poppy, and I got Nico. Nico's another one of those champions that she can turn invisible, turn into other champs. So I don't know if they could have some like weird gimmick to where like you do an assist or a tag out, but it's a fake out, and it's like you stay in. Right? Like the health bar swap and everything. And then all of a sudden, like, once you do another move, you do something else, and you can revert into your actual self. They don't know you're in there. And it doesn't take your assist slot on cooldown or nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some weird gimmicky thing like that, where it's like, oh, well, this is like a mind game. Did I not? Plus, she's also kind of like a mage. Another magic user. Her character model, she's like part lizard? Chameleon? I don't know what Nico is, but that would help break up the monotonous just humans. You know what I mean? She is very humanoid, but not necessarily full human. Mordekaiser, the big boy. I wanted multiple big dudes in this game, okay? I did. I really want to put multiple juggernauts in the game. I wanted Nautilus. I wanted Scion. But at the end of the day, I have refrained myself from putting big dudes in the game because most of the time they aren't amazing characters anyways. And I just felt like there's so much more to take from League. So I chose Mordekaiser to fit in well with the Shadow Isles, but also because Mordekaiser is just so damn awesome. Like, he's just a giant revenant, you know what I mean? Like, in armor. Like, he takes you to the death realm and bops you with a giant mace, and he sends a storm of metal around him. Like, it's I don't know, dude. Out of all of them, I like Scion the most, but Mordekaiser's just... I would love... If there's going to be one, like, oh my god, that's a big dude on the screen, I would want it to be Mordekaiser. He's just so imposing looking, and hitting people with that mace will feel so good. So, there's that. Mordekaiser is the giant of the game, I would say. Definitely the biggest character in the game. And I have Senna on the opposite side to pair up 3 Shadow Isles versus 3 characters that are pretty much against these exclusively. I don't know if any of them have interactions with Mord exactly, but he is part of the Shadow Isles kind of thing. So Senna has a giant cannon, if you don't know, which would be different for most of the people that have, like, you know, like a rifle or some guns or bow. She's just got a giant cannon. So how would you make that into a fighter? That's not up for me to decide. I'm just giving you what I think would be awesome to have eventually, right? People much smarter and better describing and I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. Anyways, you get it, man. Next, we got Evelyn. She's a demon. She's a succubus. It's pretty cool. She's voluptuous, seductive. She thrives off your pain, and she has these giant claws that come out from the back of her. She goes invisible. She throws these spikes out that, like, home in on you. She, like, allures you and stuns you, and I think some of the things in game they can do with her would be really cool. So I think that would also break it up, because even though she's another humanoid form, she's got all these other things she could do, and you can free her up to do whatever you want. So opposite of that also, because I played Injustice 2, I want someone to get a run back at a character like this, is Fiddlesticks, because Scarecrow in Injustice 2 was so cool. He was the coolest that character's ever been, in my opinion. Not to mention they got what's his name? The guy that played Freddy Krueger to voice him. I don't remember the actor's name. I'm sorry. Forgive me. But, dude, like, Fiddlesticks, he would have interactions with everybody, their fears. That's what he plays off of. He's a demon that's possessing this Scarecrow, is what it is. He's not actually a Scarecrow. But it'd be pretty good, too, because he have interactions with a majority of the cast, you know, special, unique interactions and such. So Fiddlesticks, just because I'm a Scarecrow fan. Kale, we don't really have anyone in here that, like, flies specifically, so Kale fits in pretty well with the game. In game, as the game goes on, she gets stronger and stronger, right? She evolves and turns into different forms. I don't know how you'd put that into the game, but she basically is like a holy knight, is the way I would describe it. She's like, it looks like fire or light, like, shoots out of her swords. When she swings them, there's, like, beams coming out. Pretty cool character overall, in my opinion. Hard player in the game, but pretty cool design overall. And then, of course, we always got to have the ninja. Even though we got a collie, we got to have Zed, dude. Zed's got to be in the game. He is the ninja, like, the ninja. So whatever you want to do, he throws a shuriken. He has giant blades on his arms. He uses a shadow clone. They can do so much stuff with Zed. It makes me hype even thinking about it. So if you haven't noticed, I am a Zed fan. So let's go on next. Set punches people, man. He just punches them. That's what he does in game. He smacks their heads together. He, like, power bombs them into the earth and they explode. All Set does in the lore and in the game is punch people. He's perfect. And next we have Shyvana. So Shyvana is a shape-shifting dragon, right? she's like got a humanoid form, she's got dragon powers, but then she turns into a dragon. I don't know how cool an install super would be where you turn into the dragon and you just start tearing them asunder. You know what I mean? Like that'd be some hot shit. You know what I mean? That you know, maybe that's the thing is if you could play long enough, like you don't have a traditional super in the game, but you have to get like double a super. And once you get double, you become the dragon. So it's like, okay, the other person has to beat you before you can get to the point to get to that. So yeah, Shyvana, there'd be a way they could do it. Be pretty awesome. I mean, a dragon fighter. That sounds awesome to me. Next we have LeBlanc, which I don't know how you would do LeBlanc because she's basically like a super powerful, super ancient mage, right? In game, she can use the ability and then like she can reuse it. So like she turned into double, like a fake one of herself and control it, and then a real one of herself. So I don't know exactly how they would do her. But they could pretty much do anything they want, I think, with her being a mage. Like, any magic stuff that you wanted to do, you could do with LeBlanc. It'd be believable. She doesn't have to be exactly 1-for-1 with her character in the game. Okay, next I have Lysandra on here just because I felt like we also need more mages. And we don't have anybody that uses the... I'm losing it right now. Anyways, they use... The region they're from, they use ice powers. And I think Lysandra being pretty much the Ice Queen, there's some animations they could do with her that would be pretty neat. I didn't use Ash or Braum. Braum would fit pretty good in the game, but I felt like we have a lot of people that would punch you, so I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit and add one more mage into the game. That's why I chose. But if you want Braum over Lysandra or Ash, that's your prerogative. That's whatever you like. I do think we need someone kind of from every realm here. Next, I got Aphelios. The reason why I got Aphelios is because he has all these abilities with weapons. He swaps weapons a bunch that are imbued with power from his sister that is like on the other side. That's like the... whatever the moon aspect, right? Like it was her duty to become part of the other side, and like she speaks through him. It'd be cool to see the animation of him, like, you know, flipping up a gun or something, and like her ghost come up and like grab it and like flick the gun back to him, or like imbue it with power, that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of things you can do with Aphelios, so it'd be pretty cool for the developers just to be able to do anything they want with him. Next we have Udyr. He has stance changes: Phoenix, Turtle, Tiger, and Bear. And how would you put that in the game? That's up to y'all. Maybe he has different moves while he's in it. But I thought a stance change would be a little bit good for a game. There's usually some kind of character like that in games, in fighting games. So I keep saying that a lot in games. Sorry about that. Next we got Rumble, who is also a Yordle, but he's in a mech, and I went and put him in a Super Galaxy skin. This is just the easiest one I could get a hold of. Him being in the mech gives you a lot of options. If you ever played Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I'm thinking like, what's her name? Trombon? Can't remember her name, bro. She's in the green, she has the green mech with the little robot, Surfbot. Think you play something similar like that. Plus he uses fire a lot, which is something we don't have a lot of on this cast, is just straight up fire. So he could kind of fill up that realm, you know what I mean? Like, we got ice and we got fire now. I know we got dragon fire, and he technically ain't nice people, but straight up just shooting fire would be Rumble's thing. He's in a mech too, so he's like, you know, you got mechanics. Next we have Kane. And why I chose Kane is because there's... I thought about putting Aatrox on here, but I was afraid you couldn't put Aatrox on here without having Tryndamere, and that would just fill up more slots with people with swords. So Kane has a giant scythe, and he can evolve into 2 different forms, which I think you can incorporate into the game. You could choose 2 different supers, and it would change his form for the rest of the battle. In game, he changes to 2 different forms depending on what you want to do. So I think that's pretty cool as well. That'd be a cool mechanic, and the things people decide to do, it gives you a little bit of options, you know, in game. Next is Gragas, because he's just a bar brawler. He's not like most other league champs. He's a fat guy. He's a fat balding guy that just fights and drinks. And he drinks out of a enchanted cask that gives him like slight imbued, you know, more physical prowess, I would say. Now you can swap that out for anyone you wanted. I dropped Olaf for Gragas, so if you know what I'm talking about, you know, there's a few people that are on here that are a little questionable, but I think Gragas should be in the game. He's a brawler. I have, you know, he fits a bigger size character. There's no one that's specifically that body type either. So my last pick is it was hard coming down to the last pick, man, but I have Xin Chao on here. I was thinking about Jarvan for. I was thinking about Scion. I was thinking about Nautilus. I was thinking about Vayne. Maybe even Callista. But at the end of the day, I came down to Xin Chao just because, like, lore-wise, he's a very capable fighter. And he uses a spear. So besides Pantheon on here, Pantheon doesn't exclusively use his staff, but Xin Chao does. So I feel like there's things they could do with him in the game that would allow people to have a little bit more freedom when they are designing the champs. So, and a little bit more fun too. So there you go, guys. Like I said, this is like 2028 roster or Project L. No particular order or favorites for anybody on here besides what I've already mentioned. I do feel like most Arcane cast is kind of like going to be pushed in there. But overall, what do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Leave me a like. If you would like this, please subscribe and share with someone else that likes the same kind of content. I appreciate it so much, guys. Thank you for watching so much. And I will see you guys next time.